and I did 3 or 4 drafts.
That's crazy.
So essentially, from the point I turned in that very first draft that September, Damien was basically reading every 4 to 6 weeks and giving me notes. And at first it was just him, and then he got Ryan involved, and Ryan had lots of great thoughts and ideas and contributions. And so
he knew Gosling. He wanted Gosling from the beginning.
He knew he wanted Gosling. I mean, when he went to meet with Gosling, he was meeting with him about Armstrong, and it turned out to be a meeting about La La Land, and that's how Gosling got on La La Land.
Gotcha.
So
what do you do if you get writer's block? If you get it, how do you battle it?
Well, I mentioned the Google, right, for an hour. I think it's more just I tend to procrastinate. It's more, it's funny because one of the things I find, I really like putting a script. This is something else I learned from Tommy. Like, we put Spotlight down a couple of times. Like, one because he went off and shot another movie when it became clear we had gone to like 3 or 4 actors to play Ravi, right? Who turned like crazy big actors who turned us down, and then we had this one actor attached who then left, and then Tommy went off and shot another movie. So we put Spotlight down, and then we picked it back up. And one of the great things about that is, like, you see all the, well, I didn't, but Tommy did. Saw, like, there are 17 issues now that we can now attack and make the script better.
Which one?
And so that's part of what made the script, I think.
So the distance of being able to put it down, walk away, come back to it.
Oh, yeah. If you're good at breaking apart, like, I think I'm a far better structuralist than I am, like, a specific, like, character and emotion and dialogue, and so like because of that, I feel like it's one of the reasons why I love rewriting, because rewriting is all about like what's actually not working in this structure, right? It's what bugs me so much about, I feel like so many movies, like, failing is a structural failure. Like, there's a structural failing in that movie, right? And that is why it doesn't work. And like, it's literally about, if you would fix the script, like, I mean, the shooting is beautiful, and the decoration and the production design and the all the icing on the cake, the production design and the acting, and it's all beautiful, right? Beautiful cinematography, and yet the script, you can, it's always winds up being the root of the evil, right? So, so to me, like, when you put a script down and come back to it, like, it's the greatest thing in the world, because then if you think it structurally, like, you can say, oh, here are all the problems, right? It's just you have to have the distance so that you're not like, I love that,
Kill your darlings.
You gotta be ready to slaughter them.
Folks, I'm jumping in really quick to give you a $5 off coupon to a 1-year subscription of Backstory Magazine. That's right, for a limited time, you could read us for $19.99 instead of the regular $24.99 price by using coupon code BackstoryHolidays. All one word, Backstory Holidays, right over at Backstory.net for a limited time. And while you're there, I hope you'll check out the latest issue of Backstory Magazine. In issue 34, which has a First Man cover, we have a 3,800-word interview with First Man screenwriter Josh Singer that specifically has exclusive elements that I decided not to discuss during this podcast. So I hope you'll read it, because there are plenty of new things for you to discover. We also did in-depth interviews with First Man director Damien Chazelle and First Man author James R. Hansen. Backstory issue 34 also has an entire Blacklist screenplay for you to read, along with an interview with its writer, plus issue 34 has in-depth TV interviews, including writer and exec producer Thomas Schnoz for Better Call Saul, series creator Dave Holstein for Kidding, and head writer Brandon Auman for Star Wars Resistance. As for our in-depth film coverage, we have writer-director Gareth Evans for Apostle. For Bad Times at the El Royale, we have 3 great pieces, one with writer-director Drew Goddard, another with producer Jeremy Latcham, and finally actor Lewis Pullman, who plays Miles in the film. Plus, we chatted with co-writer Danny McBride and co-writer-director David Gordon Green about the awesome new Halloween flick, director Jeremy Saunier for Hold the Dark, writer-director David Lowery for The Old Man and the Gun, and there's so much more to explore in issue 34, so I hope you check out the entire table of contents at Backstory.net. Remember, you could read Backstory on the desktop or laptop at Backstory.net, or you could even check out our iPad app or read us in Google Play on an Android tablet, so we've made it easy for you to read us. Look, you could even read a free issue at Backstory.net to get a better sense of who we are and what we do. If you'd like to attend one of my LA screenings, you can sign up to get free email invites. Just go to backstory.net/events to sign up. And I would love to see you at an event, so I hope you do it. Look, it really means a lot to me to have my podcast listeners support my passion project, so thanks for checking out backstory.net. But now let's jump back into my chat with Josh Singer about his passion project, First Man.
So the budget was $59 million reported. What was the shoot schedule? How long was the shoot?
We were about 60 days in Atlanta. We had a day down at Kennedy, which was pretty wild, where we shot the crawler, the enormous crawler. We had a day we had a day out of here at Edwards, which was great, where we shot where the X-15 lands. That's on that's on the neighboring lake beds, the one that Neil actually landed on. I mean, it's gorgeous out there. And it was, Atlanta's supposed to be warm and charming, and it was the coldest winter in Atlanta. It quite literally snowed on the moon. So, because we shot it out. Damien wouldn't shoot outside because he hated, oftentimes when you're on the moon, it feels, it doesn't feel great because you're in a set when it's been done before. And so he wanted to be outside, so we were in a quarry. And it snowed, and I think we lost 3 days of production because of the snow and the ice. So
There's a reason sound stages are
right, exactly.
All right, podcast listeners, if you haven't seen the movie, press pause, go watch the movie, come back because we're getting deep into the spoilers now. You were touching on it earlier, and I just want to go full force with it because it's such an interesting point for people.
And we're going to be jolly because wherever you are, whenever you are, and however you happen to be listening, we're so glad you've chosen to tune in to DLC. Especially if you are one of our geeks and sneaks using this podcast to power you through a workout or a run. We're going to help out. We're going to be in your ear holes for 90 plus minutes of gaming goodness because DLC is your downloadable commentary for the week, delivered the way we love it to be, and that is completely free thanks to our sponsors this week, Casper, Third Love, and Robinhood. They're bringing the show to you. DLC, of course, the show all about games on many forms, games played on desktops, laptops, and consoles, also games that involve dice, luck, and cardboard. I'm your host, Jeff Donata. That's spelled with 2 N's and 1 T, and I am joined, as always, by my friend / co-host / nemesis, the guy who always roasts his chestnuts on a closed fire, Mr. Christian Spicer. Hello, Christian.
Don't knock it till you tried it, Speaking of fitness, the Terminator gave me a retweet. Granted, I was talking about a thing he wrote, but Arnold has a really good op-ed on CNN about getting into fitness and getting back into it. And there's one portion in particular that I will paraphrase, but it's just, don't go for the six-packs abs or the beach body. Just do a little more than you did yesterday. And encouraging other people to also, if you ate 1 vegetable yesterday, eat 1.5 today, and just little incremental steps. And I really, really liked it. You can find it on CNN from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's like what I always say, it's not how far, it's not how fast, it's how frequent.
Yeah.
And it's great. I thought maybe the reason you got a retweet is because you were like, you tweeted out like, yo, anybody know where that John Connor is? Terminator retweeted me. Guys, What a time of year. It's all happening. We've got news. We've got all the games. This is actually our last regular episode before the big end of the year spectacular that we do every year. So, man, it's great. And I'm excited because we have an awesome guest this week. You know that DLC always stands for Downloadable Kanata and your Downloadable Christian. But this week, DLC stands for Declaring a Love for choke slams, because we have self-avowed wrestling fan, in fact she's watching wrestling right now, and freelancer Megan Sullivan. I'm so delighted to have you with us. Welcome, Megan.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'm on DLC watching TLC. How about that?
Hey,
Tables, ladders, and chairs.
Oh my, that is delightful. So yeah, if you hear her pop like a mark, you know what's going on in the background. I couldn't endorse this anymore. You know, when Christian and I are talking, feel free to zone out and watch the sweet matches, because we're so grateful that you gave up a pay-per-view night to be with us. So thank you.
Oh no, I am very excited to be on. I'm really excited about the topics you chose for this week. You have my full attention.
All right, well, let's get right into it and start the way we always do with Story of the Week.
Story of the week, it's the story of the week. Story of the week, it's the story of the week.
Story of the Week is the part of the show where we make our case for the most important stories that happened in the world of games this week. And you can always submit stories for our consideration by visiting our subreddit. That is 5x5dlc.reddit.com. Cool folks there. Fun community. I recommend you give it a visit. But Megan, you are our guest, so you get first pick of stories. What would you consider to be your story of the week?
Oh man, don't make me choose. There was some good stuff that you guys had on your little document. I have a lot of notes about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Okay, we can talk about
So
that.
we could just go ahead and start right there.
Yes, we got a whole mess of new gameplay footage from Beyond Good and Evil 2, the highly anticipated sequel that's coming from Ubisoft. 25 minutes of new footage that they showed, that they streamed. And this is actually the same thing that I got to see behind closed doors at E3 last year. I was surprised that it was very similar to that stuff. But first public showing, and there's a lot in there. A lot of the open world, crazy space stuff. There's even sort of combat sequences. So Megan, what are your thoughts about what we saw? Are you anticipating this game, first of all?
I am anticipating it. It's very big, it's very bold, and very beautiful. I admit it's not very Beyond Good and Evil, but, you know, it still looks really amazing, I have to say.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, everybody's kind of describing it as, Grand Theft Auto in space in a lot of ways, and I think that they kind of lean into that a little bit with this gameplay footage. But what were the things that stuck out to you?
See, I would say GTA meets Star Fox meets No Man's Sky. It's got a little bit of, and I think there's some Division in there as well. I was very impressed by the amount of customizable character options. You've got your space ride, whatever you want it to be. You got your weapons that are customizable. It's very RPG in that sense. I don't remember the first game being that RPG. It was more of an action-adventure puzzle game. This is going sort of an opposite direction, where it's a big, giant world for you and your friends if you want to explore. You got a spyglass that lets you look into everything. You can see the stats of your enemies. You can look into different planets and see what's there. I mean, there's so much about it. It's so ambitious. And I'm just hoping that Ubisoft can pull this one off, because if they can, it'll be amazing. If not, oh boy.
Yeah, it's definitely reminiscent of No Man's Sky in that sense of seamless transitions between the sort of granular on-foot stuff to this galactic scale. And I think even maybe more impressive than No Man's Sky, it's not all randomly generated. There's a lot of handcrafted stuff. In fact, I think one of the most exciting moments for me in the stuff they showed is when you go out to the planetary level, you look down on the planet you're on, you can fly over it and see the cities that you've been able to explore. But then you go up to this sort of home base orbiting spaceship. You've been in a spaceship that's more like like an X-Wing fighter size, and then there's the Star Destroyer size ship that will be your home base. That looks massive and crazy. And as you said, all of that stuff customizable, all of it where you can swap out the look of things and make it very much your own, but also, you know, customizable weapon enhancements and all that stuff. And I think the other big thing that this has over certainly No Man's Sky at launch is that it is all meant to be played with friends, and you're not tethered to one another even across the vastness of this space. You can go off and be on a completely different planet and still be in the same game world.
I need help. You gotta come help me. Where are you? 5 light years. Oh.
Yeah. But it does look extremely impressive. Christian, did you get a chance to see it?
I scrubbed through it. I didn't watch all 25 minutes. I think what impresses me the most about this is I think they're gonna do it. Like, I really think they're gonna pull this thing off. It was vaporware for so long, right? This game that's been stopped and started and then shown again in a weird way that's like, you're making it. Oh God, someone please make this game. We need help making this game. And then now there's real game, incredible graphics, and I think if you had said this maybe 5 years ago, or if I had said this, I wouldn't believe it. But I think Ubisoft is the publisher and developer to pull this game off. I mean, look at the last 2 Assassin's Creeds, Far Cry, the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon, Wildlands, like the games and maps and areas they're able to pull off. And I know it's not infinite space, but in Assassin's Creed, when you zoom out to your Hawk and you see this landscape and you can see everywhere and you can go anywhere, and even that isn't a fraction of where you're actually going to go once you get in your ship. They certainly seem to have the teams and resources that can pull off these games. So even if you told me that this was just going to be essentially Assassin's Creed in space, I'd be like, they nailed it. You know, like, what an incredible game. So I went from never gonna happen to super jazzed about this game. I still don't know how it is Beyond Good and Evil. I agree with Megan there, but I think they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I came away from E3 thinking is all of the skepticism I had voiced up to that point of, you know, really, they're gonna crowdsource this? Really? Oh my gosh, it seems like that's bad news. But it really feels like the crowdsourcing is more for little bits of detail, not large swaths of detail. And yeah, it looks like it's really coming together. My only gripe here is that we're 7 months after E3, and I mean, there's no need for them to show new things, and I'm sure they've progressed the game in the intervening months, but it really is the exact same content that was shown behind closed doors at E3. So it's a little bit of a bummer that there wasn't anything really new revealed, even though this was the first time that everybody could, as you did, scrub through and look at things in detail and see frame by frame and not have to rely on secondhand recounting of this stuff. But I certainly hope the game is continuing at pace, and I don't think it's a 2019 game, but it sure would be great if we found that out that it was.
Yeah, I don't think anything about it says 2019 yet. I think it, I'd love it. Imagine if it launched with the next-gen consoles, with these rumored 2020 consoles, and you get Beyond Good and Evil 2 very early in that console lifespan. I think there's room for it to slip, and as we talked about on the show, let's have it when it's ready instead of getting it out by 2019.
Megan, is there anything that you're hoping to see with this project? Are you hoping that they manage to find some ways to be a little bit more reminiscent of the first game, or is there something else that you would want to see out of this project that would make you even more excited?
Well, I do think that if they could put in a few Easter eggs, something with a camera, something a little bit with more environmental puzzles, something that says, hey, this is the Beyond Good and Evil universe, and I think they'll do that. You can see echoes of it in the anthropomorphic cast of characters and everything. But it would be nice to see a few more throwbacks, and I think we saw Jade in that one trailer way back at E3. So there will be something to tie it all together, I'm sure, and I'm going to be patient. I think that Ubisoft may have felt a little pressure to show this a little earlier than maybe they wanted to, just to reassure the fans, like, hey, we're not pulling a fast one on you. You've been waiting for this for, 20-something years? The original game came out in, the early 2000s. So here you go. Here's proof. We're not just taking money and running with it, or we're not making this up. I can wait. I think we may not even see this till 2021, and that would be fine with me. Take your time and do what you need to do to get this right.
Yeah. Well, they're certainly jumping on that Red Dead Redemption bandwagon where, you know, the new cool thing is to have the number 2 mean it came before the first game, right? There's another prequel that's called number 2, which is, yeah, I'm on that same bandwagon. Take your time, make it right. I don't even need periodic updates. Just knowing that they're working hard on this. Christian, what about you? What's your story of the week?
There's a lot of serious stuff I hope we get to talk about, but there's one thing I for sure want to talk about, and it's not that serious, but it's going to be my story of the week. We all saw that Sonic poster, right? Like, Jeff, I know you don't watch trailers, but you looked at that poster, and so my question to both of you is, scary or sexy, or both? Like, where are we landing on Sonic?
I saw that actually last night when I saw the Spider-Verse movie. My friends and I are in the movie theater going in, and I actually jump scared. It actually legit scared me. I was like, what is that? Like, oh, you haven't seen the new Sonic poster? Check this out. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Did you look at it, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I like how somebody made it seem as if he's naked. You know, maybe. We can't tell that he's not. He's got shoes on. That's good.
Those legs, man.
They're going for it, man. They're going for it. I don't know why we need to be cynical and snarky.
I'm not being cynical and snarky. I'm just having an honest reaction. I think it is sexualized in an interesting way with human, muscular legs. We've had Sonic in movies before where I thought Sonic looked great. In Wreck-It Ralph, I think that version of Sonic looks incredible. I know he's not with real-world people here. This film has an incredible cast behind it, so hopefully everybody read the script and signed off on it. It's great. But this initial reaction to this poster, when I saw it, I legit thought it was a joke.
One thing I can tell you is that Sonic does not skip leg day. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. But yeah, this is an odd image to start with. It's an odd image. It's like somebody took the bottom half of Usain Bolt and put a Sonic head on it. Silhouette. But, yeah, I mean, just hoping it's a good movie. I think
We're all going to see it anyway.
Yeah, we are.
I didn't see Pixel. I don't see anything just because characters I love are in it. You know, I have a little low standards, but standards.
I mean, you're thinking this is going to be as bad as Pixel?
I don't know. I hope not. Again, because of the cast, I'm assuming no, but I'm not for sure going to see this film.
Remind me who's in it, because I'm kind of blanking now that you mention it.
So James Marsden is the Buddy. Jim Carrey is Dr. Robotnik, and what's his name? John Ralphio. Come on, Ben Schwartz.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz.
Is Sonic. Is the voice of Sonic.
This is all great.
It's all great. They're all incredible actors.
We hope. Yeah, we do hope. All right, Christian, do you want to have another one? If this was just your.
I mean, I for sure wanted to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, we had to get that out of the way. Yeah, I mean, I think the more serious one is this Epic taking over the world. I think this is big, and it kind of links into, this is a big messy thing, but so Discord has upped their game in the PC storefront wars, where Discord storefront in 2019 is going to offer developers a 90-10 revenue share. Epic does 88-12, and Steam is 70-30. But Epic is also going to start releasing, in addition to Unreal Engine, they are also now releasing a cross-platform game service free to developers, and what they're showing free. And what they're showing is how Fortnite is the proof of the pudding, right? Where for years Epic has done the, hey, here's a game we made. This is demoing our engine. Don't you want to license our engine because you can make a game as beautiful as this? Now, I mean, they're still kind of doing that with Fortnite and some other games, but Epic is going, look at this. You can play on an iPhone, Android, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Switch. You can log in all of these different ways. You're not tied to a single login. They all can play with each other. And you want to do that in your game? Here you go. It's free. You got to use our engine, which is still pretty dang inexpensive and free up to a certain amount also. Then, of course, they're getting the kickback on it. And I imagine there's going to be an incentive to then have it on their store. But Epic it's a pretty appealing thing, right? Megan, like if you're making a game how do you look anywhere else or use any other engine unless you have to, right?
No, you do have to. This is kind of the future, basically, of where everything is going. And for gamers, it's also great because you can play with your friends across different platforms. You can sign in across different platforms. I mean, it's kind of where the technology was always heading. So it was great to see that announcement. We're kind of getting into the direction that we should have a few years ago. But, you know, it's hard when you have holdouts like PlayStation and whatnot. And I understand they have their ecosystem. They want to be protective of it. But, I mean, it's just the way things are going, man. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the even more pertinent point from my perspective. I think, Christian, you make great points about it being a game changer from a developer standpoint, but I think from a gamer standpoint, this is the beginning of the end of walled gardens. This really is. I mean, there's not gonna be a time, you know, this last year, one of the big stories was Sony finally going, okay, you can have cross-platform. Now it seems like cross-platform is going to just be how all games are.
I hope so.
I mean, unless it's a first-party game from one of the platform holders, right? And then, of course, that's the differentiator of the platform. But everybody else, it seems to me, is just going to have to catch up. If every tiny developer can offer this, then the big boys are going to have to offer it too. And you know, you kind of ticked off the list of things that Epic is going to be including for free. Cross-platform voice communication, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, cross-platform parties and matchmaking, cross-platform data storage and cloud-saved games. Play, you know, so far on the campaign on your Xbox, then hop over to your phone and play a little bit more there. And it's like, this is huge. And I think it's just going to break that down for gamers to where that's just going to be what we expect as baseline. Is that I'm going to be able to play my game wherever, and it's just going to be seamless. And everybody's going to have to do this.
And they're not making vague promises. This is something they're currently doing with the biggest game in the world that has huge server demand. It's not as if like, yeah, we hope to do this by 2020 or 2019. We've been doing this with our game for a while now. You've seen how well it works, where you get to move your content from one to the other. You can play with someone on an iPhone and on PC if you want. We're not going to force you to do that, but if your friend's on PC, you're on iPhone, you guys can party up and play together. Go for it. Have fun. And now we're going to give this to you. It's unreal. That's the dumb pun. There we go. it's astonishing.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those things that in a couple of years just feels like a no-brainer. You know, like, I don't know, like having online multiplayer support. You know, for many years it was like, oh, I don't know, is it going to have online multiplayer? And now it's just like, you have to. You know, every game does. Or there's probably a better example, but it's just going to be one of those things that in a few years we won't even remember a time when games didn't have that, because it's just going to be so baseline to everything. And I think that's only a good thing from the gamer perspective.
One question for you, Megan and Jeff, but Megan, I'll start with you. Is this Walmart going into town lowering all the prices, or is this the drug dealer giving you the first hit free? Are we 5 years away from Epic being the only, big dog in town and going, oh, you like that crossplay, don't you? Well, you owe us money.
No, I think eventually people will catch on. I think they got a head start, so they might be the drug dealer in front or in the Walmart, being like, hey. But I mean, the genie's out of the bottle, right? Like, it is so easy to go into Fortnite, look up your friends, invite them, no matter what platform they're on. It really spoils you, the idea of signing in on any platform, be like, all right, I'll play my Fortnite on my phone while I'm on the train to work. Now I want to go home and play on a bigger screen. I mean, it's really spoiled us. There's no turning back at this point, so everyone's going to have to come on board. But they got a running start. Good for them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think this is, to use your analogy, Christian, this means that drug prices are coming down everywhere. This means that count the days until Unity announces something very similar. Right? It just means that this has to be, in order for you to have an engine and a platform, this is going to be the thing you're going to have to offer. And we saw that happen just recently, just in the last few years, with all of these platforms, all these engines, all these these engine suites of softwares becoming basically free, basically dirt cheap. And that don't know if Epic was the first one to do it or if Unity was the first one to do it. I can't remember exactly. But somebody went, hey, it's basically free. We just get a percentage on the back end. And then everybody had to do that. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think Megan's absolutely right. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to be everybody has to catch up and they have the head start.
Oh, what a wild future we're in already. And then adding into that some version of Project Stream and streaming stuff and playing anything everywhere. It's like that, was it Minority Report? Where you have like, I know he had the touch screen, some futuristic movies, like you have the tablet or your phone, then you put it down on the table and it transitions that to a big screen, but it's all still the same device. Like, we're going to be there, maybe not with the device being powerful enough to power your big screen, but somehow like you'll walk into your smart home and it will know you're home, so it will just transition your game over to the big media device and log you in or something. It's pretty exciting.
It is. The future's happening now. My story of the week, and yes, many people posted this on the subreddit, attention me, and many people sent me tweets and emails, and I appreciate all of your concern. This is very self-serving. It's definitely my story of the week, but it was a big one for me. My very favorite game, Heroes of the Storm, had a massive bit of news. Some big news drop. It wasn't so great. After several months of dithering and will they, won't they, and this is on oddly silent and why don't we know what's going on, Blizzard made the announcement that their Blizzard-sponsored international esports called the Heroes Global Championship is not going to happen, is being canceled for 2019 and will no longer happen ever again. And even more than that, for me, is one of the, I think, the most positive events I've ever been that's associated with gaming. It was called Heroes of the Dorm, which was a sponsored collegiate tournament that they did every year that awarded the winners full ride scholarships to the college of their choice. They're also canceled. And more than that, there was a post saying that developers are being pulled from the game and moved on to other unnamed, unannounced projects. The game evidently will continue, and there will still be updates, but the, quote, cadence of these updates will be slower than it is today. And, I don't know exactly what that means. I do know Heroes of the Storm has had one of the most intense update schedules of any game I've ever seen, where just constant stream of new content and an insane amount of new heroes and battlegrounds and skins and all kinds of stuff. Just insane. Clearly that will slow. And for me, this is a big hit because I love this game. I play it every single day, and it's leading a lot of people to say dead game. And I guess, Megan, my question to you is, how important do you think esports is to games like this?
Well, I think it's very important, right? I mean, people train on these games all the time. They play them constantly. So I do think it could affect it negatively. I mean, my hope is that fans love it so much. I mean, these things existed before esports, and hopefully they'll continue to support it. And hey, there's always a chance they'll bring it back. But I read the news and I was a little surprised. I was like, really? I shows how naive I am. I thought it was doing pretty well. I mean, it's got a huge following, so I was really shocked, and I'm not exactly sure what the motivation for that is. But my hope is that stay positive. Fans, maybe they'll bring that back later. They're slowing things down now, but if the community stays strong, maybe petitions the company later. I mean, who knows? I don't want to be too disparaging and be like, oh no, it's the end for Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. But you know what? Just stay strong, fans. I mean, your love and support won't go away, right?
Mine certainly is not going away. It's a little scary that the message that sends to the community of we're not supporting the game, we're not no esport. I think a lot of people that I'm associated with in that community have voiced this, and I'll reiterate it here. The game, logging into the game today is exactly the same it was before the announcement. There's no difference. Still the same fun. There's no less fun. But it does send a message to people streamers and professionals, that don't play this game. And I think the requirement for a game like this is that 9 other people are going to be logged on at the same time you are and want to play, and that's more than just one-on-one games. That's a lot of people that need to be playing it, and a community that needs to thrive in order to find good competitive games. I'll still keep playing it, certainly, but it worries me. And Christian, my question to you is, there's a lot of speculation that this comes from Activision, who is kind of cracking the whip on Blizzard and asking for more frequent releases, more profitable games. And we already have seen in 2018 some big changeover at Blizzard, with Morheim stepping down and a new CEO of the company stepping up, and other people leaving. Do you think this is cause for worry within the power structure that is Activision Blizzard?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just purely speculation, but I think it's, I don't want to say clear, hard not to assume that all of these things are in some way linked together, right? Where Morheim's stepping down, Activision then releasing their guidance or their desire for what Blizzard is doing, Diablo Immortal being announced at BlizzCon as a foray into mobile, and Blizzard saying all of our games are going to be, we're going to have mobile versions of all of our IPs. And then the fact that Heroes was kind of their least profitable game, still very profitable from what I had looked up and read, but their least of these kind of service games that they were running. And you got to think, what is Blizzard going to be in the next 5 or 10 years? And with games taking 5 to 10 years to make, or 2 to 5 years to kind of make and come out, what kind of company are they going to be, and what is their next big game going to be? Because we haven't really seen their next big game. They've done some card games, some updates, some remasters.
You say some card games. I mean, Hearthstone is massive.
I'm not saying it's not. But it's not StarCraft 4 or Diablo 4 or
I might argue that
StarCraft 3,
I would argue Hearthstone is maybe one of the reasons that you see stuff like this. Hearthstone was I think sort of a side project that turned into a main project because of just how crazy profitable and successful the game. And Overwatch has been very successful for them. So I think some of these games are victims of the overall success of the company. And it's not like, they want the hit maker to make hits, and they're not satisfied with these, deep cut tracks that are, people enjoy but aren't the chart toppers.
I think we put Heroes at any other studio and it's a hit for that studio. Not saying it'd do better, but that studio would be like, we got a hit. I'm just curious. I guess maybe I set it up wrong, but I'm curious what their next major release will be. Whether that is a Hearthstone-type card game, or whether it's Diablo 4, or whether it's a StarCraft Ghost or a single player. Like, what they've been announcing recently have appeared to me been remasters of old games, and no real big announcement yet of what their next big tentpole summer blockbuster game is going to be. And I'm curious to see what it is. I think that will be the best tea leaves for us to read about where Blizzard is going and what Activision Blizzard is maybe doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, they put out a big WoW expansion that was very successful for them this year, and they put out Hearthstone expansions all the time. But you're right that we haven't seen a new IP since Overwatch, which, again, there was no new IP for a long time. But who knows if they're working on that? Who knows if they're working on a new Warcraft RTS type game? Diablo 4, it seems to indicate that they are working on Diablo 4. Or if there's, what that company is going to be at this point. I think it's a little up in the air, especially with a new person heading up to the entire company. It's an interesting flux. Megan, are you a Blizzard fan in general?
You said Diablo 4 and I wanted to burst into tears. I was like, where's my Diablo 4? I didn't want a mobile game, although I gotta tell you, mobile games make so much money. I don't blame them going in that direction. I mean, we can complain all we want, but they're gonna make so much bank on that Diablo mobile title. It's gonna be ridiculous, but no, seriously, where's my Diablo 4?
got to be coming, right? I think next BlizzCon they get to have the fun tease with the audience and then really come out with Diablo 4. They get to like make fun of themselves and be self-effacing and talk about how they screwed up last year, and then say, well, we still don't have Diablo 4, and then walk off stage and Diablo 4 reveal happens, and then everybody cheers and it's like, oh, I couldn't stay mad at you, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. Although the thing is, like, I worry that the pressure people have to reveal these things early. I mean, we're not going to see the Elder Scrolls 6 for about a bazillion years, and I think Bethesda felt pressure to show something like, yes, it's in development. And I don't want Activision to feel that same pressure if it's not coming out for another 4 or 5 years. Please don't do that to us.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't need to know about Dragon Age 4. But it's fine. I don't need to know. It's cool. I trust you working on it. Let me know when you've got more than a vague shape that you slowly pan across. I don't need this.
And a voiceover. Yeah, we know who that is. We know it's... We trust you, BioWare. We know you're not going to leave us hanging.
All right. Well, let us get to the games that we have been playing, because they are legion, and I'm excited to talk about them. But I do have to thank our first sponsor, which is Casper. Oh, can I tell you something? I was traveling this weekend. My family does early holiday celebration, and I traveled up to my family's house.
My family does Christmas, and you all yell first because you guys do it before everybody else.
Yeah, we do. We do. It actually works out really well because our family does it early, and everybody can go to the other halves of their families. But I tell you that because I did not sleep at my home, and my son was having a hard time sleeping, and so I ended up sleeping on the floor. And that was last night. Slept on the floor in front of my son's crib to comfort him and make sure he wasn't waking everybody else up in the house by crying. And there was no time where I was more missing a Casper mattress than last night. Oh my gosh. If it feels like you're sleeping on the floor, if you've been sleeping on a mattress for far too long, upgrade to Casper. Casper is here to make your sleep better. They have products that are designed to mimic human curves, unlike unyieldy floors. They provide supportive comfort for all kinds of bodies, and they are there to be an affordable upgrade because they cut out the middleman. They don't have stores, they don't have pushy salespeople. I guess that's me. But you know, they don't have a place that you have to go on Memorial Day to shop. It's all online. They cut out the middleman and they pass those savings along. They have various selections of mattresses. They have the classic, the essential, and the wave that all offer different kinds of support, different kinds of cooling ability at night. It's really, I mean, there's no reason to have bad sleep. You can get an affordable price. You can get hassle-free returns if you're not completely satisfied. In fact, you have 100 nights to sleep on your Casper before you have to make up your mind. And then if you don't like it, they'll come to your house and pick it up for free. It's pretty great. Hey, get $50 off select mattresses by visiting Casper.com/DLC and using promo code DLC at checkout. Terms and conditions apply, but there's no excuse for you to have another night of discomfort sleeping. Go Casper.com/DLC and that promo code DLC at checkout. Get yourself $50 towards select mattresses. Time to talk about what we have been playing this week. Megan, you've been all up on that Super Smash Bros, right? Everybody's playing that these days.
Well, I got to play it for the first time last night with friends, and it is fun, I gotta say.
All sitting in the same room?
Yes, we actually were. We went to see the Spider-Verse movie, we had some good dinner, and then we played some Smash. It was a good night.
Oh, that sounds like the best. Okay. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me who your main is. Tell me what modes you've been playing. Tell me if you've been able to figure out what the heck the menus are telling you. What's your experience like?
Well, I wasn't able to figure out the menus at all. I had to rely on the experts. I ended up kind of maining Isabelle from Animal Crossing. She was a ton of fun, but I played like 6 or 7 characters. I played like half the cast of like the Fire Emblem games. I played Peach. I played Ganon. I played Zelda, Kirby, you name it. I was just trying to find my groove, and I feel like Isabelle was the one.
Nice. I love it. I feel like the best way to play this game, bar none, is sitting on the couch next to people that you can also kind of shove and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
smack to in their face and all that stuff.
I miss that. I miss that sort of like local co-op, be with your buddies on the couch. I mean, it's frustrating we can only play online with friends when you really just kind of like want to get in their face, want to push them off the couch. So I'm really glad that I can play Smash with my friends in the same room, talk smack in their face, even though I lost every match because I suck at those games. But it sure is fun.
Do you have like a preferred controller setup, or are we using teeny tiny little Joy-Cons?
No, we were using the GameCube controllers, which I feel like is the appropriate way to do it.
Fancy. You guys don't mess around. I love it.
Oh yeah, we were all hardcore.
Christian, I know you've been playing a lot of Smash as usual, but you don't have people coming over and sitting on the couch, right?
I mean, no. Sometimes I get to play with people at work, but not as much as I want to. I played my first rounds online, which I know other people have been complaining about, but TMI. Played a bunch of online while sitting in the bath the other night after being sore from working out, and
That's always your first message to everyone that you get match made with them. It's like, I'm in the bath right now.
you can change your custom emotes to naked in a bath, naked in a bath.
Do they send you messages like, send pics?
Pics are gonna happen, and then when I send them pics, and it's just like, Nintendo characters in a bath, and then I smash them off the stage.
Time to connect.
But I had a lot of fun.
If you're in a bath, you can only pick Splatoon characters.
True.
I had a lot of fun playing online. I lost most matches. I think I won twice. Just playing with randoms and playing quick play. I think most of the complaints about online are like, you can go in and set all your preferences, and it's like, do you want to play 1v1, no items? Great. Oh, here's a match of 4 with items, and you're just like, this is not.
It's a preference, not a deal breaker.
Yes. But just for quick matches, I've had a lot of fun. Actually, right before we started the show, I just unlocked Sonic, which I'm pretty happy about.
Does he have those sweet muscular legs?
No, he's a really good-looking model. Regular sexy, not Usain Bolt sexy. I still really enjoy it. There's so much to do, just bouncing between spirits and adventure mode, and then standard arcade and online, and just the general moment-to-moment play of it is really fun. And I like the way the spirits. I've kind of wrapped my head around them a little more, and I always knew this from the beginning, right? But as I've played with it more, it's gear, right? Instead of giving Sonic armor and gauntlets and a crown the way you would in Injustice, they call them spirits because Nintendo gets to use more nostalgia that way. But it's the same thing. Your main will give you some power or ability, and then depending on your main spirit, you'll have slots for 2 or 3 or 1 additional, and those add other little perks. So you're kind of trying to complement your character the best way in your fighting style. And then also in adventure mode, some of the particular stages you're on, like wind or whatever, so you want to use Snorlax to be wind resistance, I think is that spirit's perk. Or you can do speed. You can do a bunch of spirits that have a speed up perk, and then play with a character like Samus, which is a lot faster but still pretty strong. There's a lot of strategy and depth that can go into it, or you can just auto select and play and have fun. And I have been playing a lot of Smash, mostly in handheld mode, and still really enjoying it. I'm surprised at how much I'm playing it, to be honest. With everything else that's still on my Switch, it's still what I'm going to this past week.
How pruny do you get? How many matches are we talking about?
Well, I usually play until I feel like the seal of my Ziploc bag is coming unreliable and I need to take the Switch out. I'm not in the bath. The Switch is in a bath. Oh. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. So you guys have geeked out a little bit on Super Smash. Fair point. Now I get to geek out with Megan on the game that I'm still in love with, and that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Do you love it? Do you love it like I love it?
It is my game of the year, no joke.
Yes! It is so good. It
is
so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you're talking to someone who liked Assassin's Creed but was never a huge fan. Mm-hmm. But this in Origins, it just fires up my imagination. I mean, I haven't tried to platinum a game in a long time, and I am determined to platinum this game.
How many hours is that?
About 80 is what I've been told.
I hit level 50 the other night. I'm very happy about that because then after that you get prestige levels. So that's literally like sort of soft level cap. You get prestige levels after that. I have taken down everybody in the arena. But I'm just doing what interests me. I'm kind of doing the main story when it's interesting, but I'm just following my curiosity and doing what I want to do. And it's been so long since I've played a game like this. I'm just luxuriating in it, and everything is fun. And I keep wanting to come back to it, and it hasn't lost my interest, even though it's massive, and I've dumped 50 plus hours into it already. But yeah, I adore it. I adore it.
Can I give a shout out to Ubisoft? So I've actually been to Greece, and I've been to a lot of those locales, and they did an amazing job researching. I actually have a Twitch cast called History in Games where I play games with a historical slant and I talk about the real history, and Ubisoft knocked it out of the park. I mean, they got real nitty gritty with the history, and I was just so impressed. I was like, oh my gosh, that's where the treasury of the Athenians is, in Delphi. They got it right. It's so detailed.
So that's another layer of just awe that I am in of this game, is because I kind of can't believe this game is even possible. Just the amount of stuff, just the pure amount of stuff in it. And I go, okay, well, there's a part of me that can go, okay, well, you just throwing resources at this. People are creating a thing. But it's one thing to even make a game of this scale and density at all. And another is to make a game of this scale and density that is also even remotely historically accurate. Like, you can't just put things willy-nilly in the game. You have to actually at least kind of be, from what we know of the time, accurate, right?
Yeah, it's not an easy topic either. I mean, this is the Second Peloponnesian War. It goes on for 30 years. And I mean, there's a lot of history to cover, and they really try.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I love the milieu. You talk about having been to Greece. This game, no joke, has made me bring up the topic to my wife. Like, maybe we should go to Greece. It looks gorgeous, and I want to leap off of things.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be no problems with that. I would just go to the top of the Parthenon and take a leap of faith.
Yeah,
what could go wrong?
I'm sure there's a hay bale down there somewhere.
Of course, naturally. I saw tons of them walking around Greece. No, seriously, it's gorgeous. A lot of history, cool people. Go, go, go.
I had a cool experience this weekend. I mentioned already that I was up having early Christmas with my family. And one of the things that I enjoy about early Christmas is that it's one of the rare times that I get to hang out with my 15-year-old nephew and get a view
the way
into
he frames that is, it's one of the rare times I have to hang out with my old man uncle. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. But it's one of the times when I get to really get a clear view into what the teens are thinking about the video games, and I sit down and I'm like, "Hey, teen, tell me about the video games." And I have to tell you, there was a period of his life where I would go to Christmas, and all he would talk about is Minecraft, and I would struggle to relate because I just never got into Minecraft. And last year, all it was Fortnite. Still into Fortnite. This year he's into Fortnite, and he plays a ton of Black Ops 4. He loves Black Ops 4. But interestingly, doesn't play Blackout mode. He only plays the actual multiplayer. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the Blackout mode, which I found very strange because he loves Fortnite, but he never got into PUBG, and I think he doesn't like the Battle Royale mode without building stuff. He just likes the regular Call of Duty multiplayer that he knows. Anyway, that's beside the point. The bigger point is we're talking about Fortnite, we're talking about Call of Duty. I'm struggling to keep up because neither of those games is particularly my jam. And here I am, like the cool uncle that hosts a video game show. I should be able to relate, and I always struggle. And then he goes, "Well, I'm also playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey." And I went, "Yeah, dude!" And we had the greatest 45-minute conversation about what talents to take and what areas and what quests he's done. And he's nowhere near as far as me, so I got to feel cool because I'm way farther in the game than him, and I got to recommend some talents to take and told him, you can tame a bear, and I was the cool uncle for the first time in quite a long time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you team Sparta or Athens, out of curiosity?
That's so funny. He asked me the same question, and I went, I kind of flip-flop. I don't have a clear... I just kind of go where the winds take me, like a true mercenary.
You're a true Mythios.
Exactly, a true Mythios, yes. What about you?
You know, I initially did the same thing, but I kind of lean towards Team Sparta for some reason. I don't know. I think I like their swagger.
Yeah, that's exactly what my 15-year-old nephew. He's Team Sparta as well. So there you go. You're in good company.
See, I have a nephew who's also 15, and he and my niece are coming out to visit for the holidays. And I'm also curious to know what they're playing because I feel like I play totally different games. That there's like a generation gap thing, where I'm like, what games are you playing? How do you not like? I showed them Breath of the Wild a couple years ago, and they're like, "What's Zelda?" And I'm like, "What? What do you mean, what's Zelda? How dare you? I'm going to educate you."
Oh, that character from Smash has their own game? Weird.
Oh, they don't even know Smash. Like, they're not Nintendo kids. Like, they do everything on iPad and iPhone. So I'm like the uncool person where I'm playing these old fart games, and they're playing like Wizard or Wizardry 101 or whatever. I mean, I gotta catch up, man.
Yeah. That's how it's always been for me, too. And I was like, well, video games, that's the one topic we can always, and then no. It turns out no. There's still a generation gap. But I was very pleased. But interestingly, I asked him about Fortnite, and he went, yeah, I got the Battle Pass this year, but I haven't really played it. I kind of regret getting the Battle Pass. And so at least for him, maybe
this
he's kind
season.
What?
Battle Passes aren't years.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Well, actually,
he said something, and then I was like, "That's cool. I'm very fly, and you're fresh." And he was like, "Get out of here, oldie." And I was like, "No, he's cool. He's very nice."
I'm curious to see if my nephew and niece play Fortnite, because that is something that I play where I'm like, "Hey, play this cool thing all the kids love," and then they'll be like, "No."
It does seem pretty ubiquitous, but maybe not. I don't know. Megan, you are also playing a game that I know a lot of people love and gets short shrift on the show because neither Christian nor I have played it, and that is Dragon Quest XI.
Yes.
People are go crazy for that game. I've never been into the Dragon Quest series personally, but I hear this one is a strong entry.
It is a strong entry. It actually brings the series into the 21st century, which is kind of nice. It's always kind of dragged its feet on that, but it's more open world. It's more action based, beautiful graphics, good solid story, some additional content after the credits roll. I recommend it. I think unfortunately it dropped at a time where there were a lot of big games that came out.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, 2018, basically. That's the way to summarize it. So, and it's funny because I didn't think anything was going to beat out 2017. I mean, that was a banner year for games. And 2018 had a very solid showing. And so I feel like Dragon Quest XI got a little overshadowed in a time where any other year they would have done all right. So I'm happy to recommend it to people if you love JRPGs, you love anime-esque stuff, and you just love something very family-friendly and fun. I would go for Dragon Quest XI.
Cool. Yeah, tons of stuff to play, especially of the size and scale of those games. It's hard to be like, yeah, take this 50-hour experience along with all the other ones that have come out this year. But yeah, people love it. Christian, how about you? What do you got on your playlist?
Well, I said I was going to do it, and I did it. When Guacamelee 2 came out first on PlayStation, I waited for the Switch release. It dropped on Switch last week. Picked it up. I also picked up, if people on the stream, I'll show it. I got one of the Hori D-pad Joy-Con things. It only works.
It's pretty sharp looking.
Yeah, I love it. I got a Pikachu one. So it only works in handheld mode. You can't detach it, and it doesn't do rumble. But I play most of my Switch in handheld mode, and I really like the D-pad on it. It's pretty stupendous. It's not the best D-pad I've ever used, but it feels pretty dang good. So I wanted to get it.
I find myself turning rumble off a lot anyway.
In handheld mode, I do as well. I like it on the Pro Controller, but in handheld mode, we're like, that's also the screen. Like, I don't want earthquake mode on, you know? But so I bought it, one, because I don't have impulse control, and it was like $19 on Target. I think normally it's like 29 or 25. And I knew Guacamelee 2 was coming out, and I wanted to play it with the D-pad. So Guacamelee 2, you probably heard about it when it first came out. It's incredible. If you loved the first game, it's easy to recommend the second game. I'm maybe 3 hours in, so not super deep, but it's the same action platformy combat, kind of melee combat, unlocking powers as you progress, then Metroidvania, retracing steps. But the precision it requires in its platforming is less than Celeste, but more than what is typically found in, a Metroidvania type game. I know some of the Castlevania games had some pretty brutal platforming segments where it's like the tiniest little parapet or whatever as an axe and a bat are coming at you. You have to floss between. Generally, like Super Metroid is super punishing in its platforming. This requires some pretty cool and dexterous finger work of like dashing through thorns and then double jumping and then using your power. I think it's like a rooster punch as your uppercut to kind of jump, lateral through something while you're still in the air, do your double jump, then do your super to get up to a ledge, and fun platforming mechanics like that, but then also really fun and interesting boss fights that I've heard evolve well throughout the game, kind of like the way the first game did, as it's constantly giving you powers. And just a stunning and gorgeous game. The art in the first game was incredible, and I don't know, I haven't played the first game in a while, so maybe it's exactly the same. It's just been years since I've played it. But as I'm playing Guacamelee 2, I feel like they upped the ante, and it's just gorgeous. The amount of colors the game uses and the way things are exploding and reacting is jaw-dropping, but never in a way that is distracting. I love Super Smash Brothers, but when you're playing 4-player Smash, most of the time I'll be going, where am I? Crap, where am I? Oh, where am I? Because that game gets so distracting, and Guacamelee really walks that line. And the hours I put in, it has played great on Switch. I haven't noticed any performance problems or anything like that. So if you're on the fence about it, heaven forbid you're looking for something to play, because there aren't enough games, Guacamelee 2 is an easy recommend. Megan, did you ever play the first, or did you play this when it came out on consoles earlier in the year?
I did play a little bit of the first game, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was unique and fun. I haven't played the sequel, though, so now I will.
Yeah, it's really well done and super easy to recommend if you like the first. It complements it well, and it's so tongue-in-cheek. It pokes fun at itself. It pokes fun at, I don't want to spoil it. It pokes fun at some other games and other genres. Yeah, it's a really well-made game. I've liked all of those. I think Fox Studios. They're a clever studio that puts out a quality product. Easy to recommend. And then the other reason I picked up my Tory D-pad that I'll give a slight product review to, thumbs up, is Ninja Gaiden. The NES version was coming out. I think it came out on the 12th on the Nintendo Online service, and I wanted to play that game because I love that game. It's still so expletive hard, Jeff. I don't know if you ever beat it. I know I never did, but my gamer friend that lived down the street from me did, and that was always the game. He would come over and be like, I can beat it for you if you want. No, Terry, we don't want you to. I can. It's not that hard. You just got to learn the combos. Like, there aren't He's like, you got to jump here. Anyway, I'll probably never beat it, but I love it. I have such fond memories of that game.
The bad news for me is I think you're my Terry. If you can't beat it,
then we're never beating it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's probably harder now because you're old.
Probably, yeah. But the D-pad works great on it. I'll tell you that. And I like save states, so I'm slowly basically after I clear a screen without dying, I save. I'm save scumming my way through Ninja Gaiden on NES.
There you go. As you should. That's great. Good times, man. Well, on my playlist, I played a game that I have been anticipating for many years now, and that is Below, which finally came out from Cappy Games. I'm playing it on Xbox One X. It is an Xbox Game Pass game, which, man, that service is, I'm really enjoying having it because all these games are coming out. I get to play them. Below is beautiful. It really feels like a modern Zelda. Like what if the original Legend of Zelda was made today with all the things that we know and all the influences of roguelikes and Dark Souls and all those kinds of games, and yet they still wanted to make Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda, sort of top-down Legend of Zelda. I think this is the game that would emerge. And
Thank you,
it is a game that I think doesn't care if you understand what's going on, is totally fine keeping you in the dark, both figuratively and literally, because it's a game about darkness and light, which incidentally makes me very frustrated that it doesn't support HDR, because
What about widescreen? Does it support widescreen?
maybe, I don't know, I haven't played it on PC yet. But it doesn't support HDR, which is a shame, because it's a game about contrast. It is stark, it is beautiful, but it's all about light and darkness. I mean, one of the central mechanics of the game is that you get this lamp that you have a finite supply of fuel for, a sort of magic lamp that can illuminate traps and things for you in the environment. And so I think it would be a really beautiful game in HDR.
Can't get rid of me, Meg.
Sad that it doesn't support it, but it is a game that they are totally happy allowing the player to just kind of bumble around and not do things for quite a while, because you don't know how, you don't know what to do or where to go, or there's no signposting, there's no it doesn't hold your hand at all, it doesn't tell you how to do anything, there's no tutorials, it just puts you in the world and lets you loose, and you sort of have to stumble around until you find stuff. There's a crafting system that's very Minecraftian, where you combine things to create new things. It doesn't tell you how to do any of that.
And, you know, it's fun. Is it fun or rewarding? Is it more akin to like Dark Souls, kind of setting you loose in the world, but you have a sword and an enemy's approaching, or like Mario 1-1, where you can jump or walk toward this enemy, or Breath of the Wild, or is it like Zelda, NES Zelda, where you have a sword and a map and you just walk somewhere? Like, is a certain area lit? Is it level designed, or is it really just, hey, you've got 2 hours, see if you can... Do you think you've made progress, or do you know you've made progress?
I've definitely made progress. It is... So let me explain. I'm not really sure what your question is, but I'll try to answer it anyway.
Well, you said it doesn't tell you what to do, so I'm curious, if you played for 2 hours, are you like, oh, I'm closer to completing this game or figuring it out than I was when I started, or is there a chance that maybe you aren't, and you're just kind of still stumbling around in the dark?
Well, I'll tell you two things on that. The first is I spent probably easily a half an hour of play of this game at the beginning, maybe more, but easily a half an hour. I didn't see a single enemy. I was just wandering around this island. You start the game, you land on this island, get off a ship, and then you go. And you're wandering around trying to... And you go to a place, and it's clearly the place you're supposed to go, but you can't get in. And you're like, I don't know why I can't get in. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, or I need to go someplace else. And you wonder... And it's a game that's totally happy letting you live in that uncertainty. Which can be a little frustrating, and part of me was like, get going already. But it's a game that is very confident in its pace, and very confident in its cadence, and very confident in the tone it wants to set. And I kind of realized that the game really is about pure discovery. It is a game of discovery, and that's really what it has to offer, is you discovering it. And I think I found joy in that at a certain point. And so it's got this roguelike element, and it's got survival elements. And I'm a little weary of survival games at this point. The first time I died in Below, I died of starvation. And as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing fun about that. There's nothing fun about expiring because you were unable to find more food. Right?
Yeah, but it's better than dying of dysentery a la Oregon Trail, right?
True. But at least I made a decision to try to fjord that river, you know?
True.
Just the like, well, I hope that there's food on the other side. No, there's no food here.